Hello, my name is Alan Crawford, and the purpose of this video is to provide the basic definitions of what an initiative is, according to the Arizona Constitution, and what a referendum is, according to the Arizona Constitution. We're going to compare and contrast an initiative and a referendum, talk about some pros and cons, and explain how initiatives and referendums support direct democracy as outlined in the Constitution of Arizona. So, without further ado, let's talk about an initiative. Okay. An initiative allows citizens to make changes to the Arizona Constitution on their own. So, what that means is that they can add, modify, or remove certain things in and out of the Constitution. It gives the power to the people. Only 17 other states in the United States have a process like this. Um, the initiative must survive two initial stages. Those initial stages are the petition and the ballot. So, first part is the petition. You draft a proposed amendment if you are a registered Arizona voter. Let's say it's something like I don't have a good example, but basically you would draft that amendment. What's cool is that Arizona kind of, as far as the government being involved, they want to be hands off. So there's no government advice given. There's no government help as far as editorial purposes with helping proof an amendment draft. So they can only embrace one subject. The amendment can. So we see it a lot of times in Washington where there be a bill that is going through, the House and the Senate and stuff like that. And that bill is just chock full of other measures and other things that don't necessarily have to do with the main point that's being discussed. I think that's a real advantage to Arizona's initiative, is that it can only be about one thing. So the petition is drafted and is filed with the Secretary of State. The initiator needs to collect signatures equal to 15% of the number of voters who cast ballots in the previous governor election. So that number currently, according to the Understanding Arizona Constitution book, is 230,000. So in order to pass an initiative and make it an amendment into the Arizona Constitution, the initiator will need 230,000 signatures, and that is a lot. This changes every 4 years, obviously, depending on how many people vote in said election. So the number can be different, but it takes a while for that number to increase or decrease. The initiator begins collecting signatures after the election, the general election. So let's say we had an election this past November. After that election, the initiator can then begin to collect signatures on a measure that they feel should be on the next election, the next ballot. So the signatures must be turned in 4 months prior, 4 months prior to the next election. So that means that an initiator has about 20 months to gather signatures, 230,000 signatures to be exact, and then from there, they turn it into the Secretary of State. The reason why it has to be 15% of previous voters in the gubernatorial, I hope I said that word right, election is because what they're trying to do is kind of filter out frivolous initiatives or initiatives that don't have a lot of support. So, 230,000 signatures is a lot. So if you can get that number, that means that a lot of people are supporting your cause. And that also means that it's something that's important to people. One of the cons about this is that most of the time paid circulators are going around collecting the signatures, which is great. They are incentivized by how many signatures they're able to collect. However, for grassroots campaigns, the guy working at a grocery store or, an auto mechanic who may not have the funds to pay people to grab signatures for 5, 6, 7 hours a day, that can cause a hurdle for a lot of them. So grassroots campaigns, they kind of run into this stumbling block a lot. This also heightens the risk of signature fraud. 230,000 signatures is a lot. Uh, this paid circulators get paid based off of how many signatures they're able to collect. So, they may be duplicate signatures, or they might be signing people's names who are not registered to vote. That is a risk of, or a con rather, of that system. So, let's go ahead and talk about a referendum, which is kind of the same as the initiative process. However, it has to do with the legislators, excuse me. This is the most commonly used method for altering the Arizona Constitution. This is the most commonly used method for altering the Arizona Constitution. And basically, the people that make the laws, the legislatures, are the ones that propose the change, not the citizens. The House and the Senate must both independently approve a measure with a majority vote, and then from there, the people vote on it. It's usually in the next general election. Sometimes it doesn't happen very often, but they will call a special election to vote on a measure. If it's a pressing measure, most likely they will do that. Um, there are different types of referendums, as there are with different types of initiatives. You have the statutory referendum, which it sends basically the measure straight to the people, and this is most of the time used instead of a governor's signature when they feel like something is going to be vetoed by the governor. If they don't want a measure to be vetoed, hey, we're going to draft this measure, we're going to vote on it in the House and the Senate, then we're going to send it straight to the people to vote on it in the next general election. That is cool. It has pros because it bypasses the 2/3 supermajority that's needed to raise, taxes and things like that in the Senate. Um, Also, too, I lost my train of thought. That's not good. But essentially, I hope I did no, I have one more thing to talk about. So this, as far as initiatives and referendums, how they support the idea of direct democracy, as outlined in the Arizona Constitution, is quite simple. It gives the power to the people. The people are the ones that choose who governs them. They choose their leaders, and these two processes for amending the Arizona Constitution essentially gives that power directly to the people. Of course, there are times, where referendums are passed in the legislature and things like that, but most of the time, not even most of the time, but there is a possibility that people are able to vote on it. So I hope all this information was helpful in helping you understand what each concept is. I hope I was able to point out good pros and good cons about each concept. You all have a good night. God bless.